What's up, you guys? Back to another video. You guys seen a ton of nitro stuff on my channel. Anyways, we're gonna put this baby together. Detail, we're gonna talk everything step by step. So we got the crankcase here. You want to call it a block, you want to call it a head, no worries. You got a bearing over here which pushes right in. You got a bearing in there, okay? So one thing I do want to say is make sure everything is clean and use clean rags. They do sell a spray. It's like an oil for these nitros, and you want to make sure everything is lubricated. Since, like I said, this engine is no good to me. This is show and tell. It's a tutorial, so make sure your bearings are good. Pay attention to your bearings inside, front and back. If they need to be cleaned, they need to be swiped out. Do so. Put proper bearings inside. Anyways, we're gonna start off by saying spray some lube in there. They sell oil for nitro engine sprays. Put some on the journal here, on the crankshaft here. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna insert this shaft. So slowly just put the shaft in, and it sticks right in. Once we got this baby in, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this plate in. This plate sits in that manner. It does have like a little oval to it. It's like a D. So that baby goes in only one way. It's only gonna fit one way. Okay. So next step, your flywheel. If you want to throw a little bit of thread lock here, it's up to you, but I don't think it's necessary. But the flywheel goes in any direction. It's gonna free play. Next step, we're gonna put in this. I have no idea what the hell this is called. I guess flywheel screw in there. I don't know. Flywheel holder. So it's like a little shaft. It's an 8mm. And do put some thread lock, red especially, okay, something heavy duty, so this thing does not come apart. So this baby is gonna go in next. And there goes my little screwdriver, which I don't care about. We're gonna lock this baby up nice and tight. Okay, you make sure this is nice and tight. Okay, if you want to find some specs, maybe the manufacturer can give you specs. So we got turning crankshaft with the flywheel. Okay, next up is let's finish up our front end of the engine here. We're gonna put in our clutch pack goes in next. I'm sure you guys have a clutch pack out there. You're gonna be changing these stuff, okay? Bearing, there's two bearings on this baby. Okay, we got this washer here, goes first here, it goes here first. That's how this baby is built. Bearing, we got a spacer, and we got a bearing just like that. There you go. This baby was up here. This is how this person built it, whoever had this engine, so we're gonna keep it in the same way. We're gonna put in this baby. So this bearing is not proper, okay, as you can tell. And then we have this little guy here. So this thing is a disaster in there. So the bearings are not the proper bearings. So there's another washer here. And then our little screw goes on, which screw is gonna give me trouble here. So we're not probably gonna tighten it all the way. Let's see how far we can get this baby to go. Okay, so make sure you put thread lock on this screw as well. They do tend to come loose. And like I said, this engine again is a show and tell. I don't care about if I'm damaging things here. So this would not be a proper way to turn it. So make sure you get a crack tool to turn that baby. So once this is in, just know your specs. Okay, so you know what? Let me lock this up because it's gonna annoy me. Okay. Okay, the bearings are wrong in there, so it's not even sitting properly. It's sitting on that little spacer. Next up, make sure you put some oil again onto these journal, this crank rod here. So if you ever have play in there and there's some little retainers in it, if you're gonna remove this piston and a piston rod here. Anyways, remember that hole. We talked about that hole. There's a small little hole right there. That hole faces front of the engine. So to put this baby in, your crank has to, the crank journal has to be facing up right there. That's the only way. Do not put the sleeve in yet, okay? Sleeve cannot go in, okay? Sleeve is the last thing you want to put in there. So this is the only place it's gonna go in at. So the crankshaft has to be there. So what I'll do is try to use something that's sensitive, that's not gonna like this scissor will put it like a ding to it, but I can use this scissor to attach that piston to where I want it at. Up, everything fell apart. So it is a little tricky, okay? It is a little tricky. So let's see if we can get this baby on one last time. Okay, once it's on, I got it sitting right there. Okay, and it's not at the proper spot. Remember I told you that thing has to be right top dead center, right there. That's where it has to be, right there. Other than that, it will not go on. So this is the only spot. Make sure your hole, remember that hole on that rod, it has to be facing front of the engine. So we got that baby in. We got a piston moving. Next up is our sleeve here. So this sleeve, make sure you lube it up again, inside, outside. This little notch here. There's a little notch here. This notch matches up with that little guy. So you could control your piston right now to go down. Turn this baby so the piston goes down. And before you make any moves, you can bring the piston up, move it around. And make sure this baby sits where you want it to go. Sometimes you won't get it the first time, so let's make this baby go down more. Okay, sometimes you can put your finger in here and move that piston around till it enters the hole, okay? So once it, pretty much the hole may not be like the sleeve, it enters the sleeve. Then you can push the sleeve down, okay? When it comes to the near end, you make sure that little guy sits right there. Perfect. Perfect. Now we got a working piston. Okay, there you go. Alright, so next up is our backing plate here. Okay, so the starting system here, let's build this little guy. So some cars will have it different, some engines will have it different. So we got a one-way bearing in here. So this baby sits in that direction. This little notch here has to sit into that crankshaft. Okay, so once you have it, you can turn it a bit and it will drop dead. There you go, perfect. Now we're gonna take our 4 little screws. Very important. They're nice and tight. If you need to put a little bit of Loctite, do so, because these babies will come out with vibration. Okay, so far looking good. There you go. This is done. And this baby is done. There's an O-ring seal on this guy. We talked about it on that video, so we're not going in detail. This is just a reverse procedure here. There you go. 1, double check, 2, 3, 4. There you go. Don't forget this baby. You don't put this baby in, nothing is gonna turn. So this is what turns the engine as you kick start, push start. I said kick start. So there is a small little spring in there. Okay, so if you had your little baby came with a spring, make sure that spring is in there. Spring goes in the hole both ends. This baby attaches just like that. Can't go wrong. Okay, make sure your pull start is nice. So 3 screws here. 1, 2, and 3. We're gonna lock these 3 screws up. So make sure you keep everything nice and clean and lubricated, because rebuilding your engine, you want things to be perfect. Okay, you don't want like a little scuff pebbles or rock, sand in there. Okay, that will cause trouble. Small little pebble of sand in there inside that cylinder is gonna be a big deal. There you go. Woo! Yeah. Anyways, that's done. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna take our carburetor. Sometime if you ever want to change the direction of a carburetor, That's up to you, but know that things are gonna turn. Okay, so this carburetor goes in that manner. We got a small little this is a 1/4-inch screw here. Tighten that baby up. I'm not gonna go all the way because this is just tutorial. Nice and tight. Make sure the O-ring that I showed in other videos is there properly. So all we have left is the head here. Okay, so we got head gasket. Make sure it's nice and clean. Okay, the head gasket goes right here. This baby, pretty much you can put the head gasket onto this. Okay, if you need to change the head gasket, change it. Okay, there you go. Bada bing, bada boom. And your spark plug, your glow plug, whatever you want to call it, goes in here as well. Okay, but don't tighten it yet. You can have it on there, and make sure your head the way you want it. Okay, the lettering, because you can put it in different direction. And the reason why I said don't tighten that glow plug is because it's just gonna turn with it. But once this baby locks up, that baby cannot turn. Okay, the head. That what I would call a real head right there down there with the gasket. This is just a heat sink on top of the head. So we're pretty much complete with this baby. A little bit more. Okay, come on, get in, baby. There you go. Can't even get my tool on this guy. So it's very important you lock these up to the proper tightness. They're just hand tight, okay? Just make sure you don't just yank one and then do the other one. Do little here, little there. And then same thing with the other two screws. So it's nice and flush, okay? Nice and flush. There you go. Okay, now you can tighten up your glow plug. Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, it got pressure. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching my video. See you guys on the next one. So that was just assembly. Okay, we got the muffler, which I'm not going to put together because I want to leave this engine just like that, and I'll think about that down the road. Anyways, bye-bye.